Hey guys, I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today we're going to talk about a plant that I use in a bunch of different ways, and that is Fittonia, or the nerve plant. Now I use this in my fish room on a secret project that I haven't shown you guys yet. I use this in the biorb in my living room, and I maintain them as houseplants. I find them to be pretty easy to do, though they do have some specialized needs, as does any plant. Though I consider these to be fairly easy. As you can see, they're relatively compact, low-growing, spreading plants that have these beautiful nerve-like leaves, finely veined, and they range in color from green and white to red veining to pink veining. There's some mini varieties like this one here, and I just find them to be really, really cool. Now they do spread, and I'll show you in my biorb that this was two small plants, about the size of the one I have in front of me here, that was placed into this biorb about 6 months ago, and it has crept along the entire thing. And this is pretty normal behavior for them, as in the wild, they grow in the bright shade in tropical rainforests all over South America. So they're very much a creeper, and even when you visit botanical gardens, you'll often see them used in these sort of shade environment. And honestly, this makes them really great houseplants for us, but you need to consider the humidity needs. Now I struggle a little bit in the winter, and that's why these guys look a tiny bit curly right now. It's very difficult for me to maintain the humidity in this house as we heat our house with wood. Something that you can do to combat that is to mist them each morning, which I do, and that keeps them going pretty well until spring, now when things start to perk up a bit. I do use a soil mix with these guys that's mainly coconut coir and some perlite, because the coir really holds that moisture well. These guys do like it on the humid side, but it's important to mention that they can become particularly prone to fungus gnats, so it's important to not overwater. You don't want them to dry out completely in between waterings, but I find that watering pretty heavily once a week and then misting them each morning keeps them looking really good. They do flower. Mine don't generally flower. The flowers are unremarkable and not very impressive. These guys do well in north-facing windows or under fluorescent lights. They add really nice color all through the winter, so they're one that I particularly like to keep. They only get about this tall, but again, they can spread, and I just think there's a lot of really neat varieties out there. Now, if you see leaves that are getting yellow, it probably means they're getting too much water. If they look really brittle and sort of curly, it's not humid enough, and you can see that on the edges of this plant in particular. They are pretty forgiving in that if they're getting too dry, they droop and then they bounce right back the same day. So that's kind of nice. If you don't water these guys enough, you're going to notice right away, and they're salvageable. If they're dropping their leaves, it's probably because things are too cold. They generally don't do well under 60, but then again, if we're keeping them at houseplants, most of us don't keep our houses that cool. So that's one of the other reasons I think they do really, really well. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the nerve plant, or Fittonia. I really think they're versatile, beautiful, and a fun plant to keep. As always, thanks for your continued support, and I'll see you in the next one.